right, good morning. We'll start meeting at 8:36. Okay, let's go over any old business. We'll look at consider the September 10th and November 4th meeting minutes. Any objection? We're gonna accept the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, action items. September, audit financials. We want to review the report?
I actually have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Okay, I've branched out, I'm on to the balance sheet today. For the operating accounts, it looks like there's 4 accounts. Which, are they all Providence accounts or are they Easton and Oxford accounts as well, or which? Because there's the cash operating account, there's a cash Wells Fargo, there's a cash operating savings, and there's a cash depository account.
Yes, that's all in the same.
So-
Easton and Oxford are all part of the same account.
Okay, so all of the Eastford and Oxford money gets deposited in Providence's account?
Yes.
Okay. Are they supposed to have their own separate banking account?
That's not how it is. If that's the case, I'm not aware of that. But I could check into it if you like.
Okay, because I know they're a benefited community, but you can't commingle funds, so.
I can check into it.
Yeah, I would kind of think based off of how the balance sheet is for the reserve, because the reserve actually lists two of the accounts, because one is Oxford, one is Easton. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I imagine that one of these is for,
That's the Wells Fargo's cash.
the Wells Fargo's cash is for Easton?
So you have your operating account, which is a regular for Providence.
Okay.
And then you have your reserve account. The operating savings is, no, isn't the Wells Fargo for
Wells Fargo was,
the park, correct?
yeah, that was for the park.
And then the operating savings is the reserve.
Okay, because I'll get to that. Okay, so, and then which one is the depository account?
That I'll have to check
I think
into
that's the
exactly what that
Square.
is.
I think that's for Square for Lifestyle.
I would actually like to have these labeled a little differently so we know which account is what. Next question. Okay, so the balance sheet for the reserve. There's 4 separate accounts. This is the, I'm about 90% sure on this, but Eastford, Easton and Oxford, sorry to combine them. They should have their own set of financials, their own balance sheet, their own. I know that they're a benefited community, but they should have their separate financials. And the way that this is bundled, it looks like Providence has $1 million in their reserve, but they really don't because 2 of these accounts, one's for Eastern and one's for Oxford. It is the,
Are you on page 4?
She is on page 13 of 43.
What?
Page 13?
of 43.
Yeah. So,
So really.
you feel like those 2, the benefited neighborhoods should have their own set of financials, their own bank
Right.
accounts, all of it.
Right,
Okay, I'll find out about that.
because it looks like from this, from the balance sheet that Providence has $1 million in their reserve, but they don't have 985. And you're not supposed to commingle accounts for the associations. And I know that they're benefited communities, but they still should have their own separate financials.
Why don't they? I thought they do because they don't have their own board. right?
Well, they don't have their own board. Everything is operated for them under the master association. So they do have their own separate set of assessments though, for their benefited communities to maintain any of their common areas that are outside of the Providence common areas.
Why don't they have a board? Are they not built out yet?
No, they're called benefited communities. And so, I mean, if I had to give you an example of another master plan community that's say a non-gated community, typically non-gated communities don't have an extra board. They don't have a sub-association. They're usually just ran under one association. And so, that's the best way to explain it. But I mean,
I think that's it's their option. So the community board can decide, the community can decide whether or not they're going to use the master as their service provider for HOA.
no, they have to use us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
It's a default.
the benefited ones are outlined in the CCNRs, but like a Franklin Park or something like that could say, we
They
no
could,
longer.
we could
Exactly, yes.
actually vote to say that we want to.
Correct, the sub-association,
benefit,
yes, that are not outlined in the CCNRs can do that if they so choose. They absolutely can, if they want to relinquish
If you
power.
want, yeah, I know that
authority,
was
they
discussed, that you can if you wanted to.
So are you suggesting to have like Oxford their own account? They do.
Well,
But separate them completely from Providence
They-
accounting?
Yes, because they have to have their own bank accounts, because you can't put, so they still pay assessments, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you cannot deposit their assessments into the Providence bank account, because those assessments are for
Or only for
Oxford.
Easton?
Right.
Well, I think we check into this for sure to see if that's something that we're supposed to be doing. I would say that, this community has been with, they've done their annual audits, and if that was an issue, I would say that would have been brought up probably in an annual audit at some
That's
point.
kind of, but the problem is that the way that it's presented, like if you look at the general ledger, it shows where the reserve transfer was done for one, I have to look it up, for,
So Easton, like, putting money into reserve, but that's
Right.
not reserves for Easton, like,
but it doesn't show
not
what account it's
Providence.
coming from. So it doesn't say if it's coming from Providence's reserve account or if it's coming from, it's right here, it's page 2 of the general ledger.
You don't want necessarily anything to change per se, just label it and separate them a little bit so it's clearer to understand.
You're talking 3 cents per year.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm talking 3 cents of financials.
That's what she's talking.
Yeah, because when you look at the general ledger, it doesn't show,
No, it's always been confusing, but there has got to be some type of written or legal reason or this wouldn't have gone on this long. I found it extremely confusing the first time I saw it. It was a long time setting it up. But I can't believe that they've gone on this long, that hasn't been a reason.
right,
Normally, yes, in any business, there would be 3 sets of financials, they roll up into the master.
Right.
Okay, but they kind of do and kind of don't here, so this,
right,
she just needs to look up to see what it is.
right.
I just can't believe that they would be that negligent all these years and not do that
I would-
when they
right.
have been audited.
I would hope not, but I also.
I don't see how they could have been when they're audited, the audit firm for themselves. and fine with that.
Right, and I've been curious, I was actually gonna request to see a copy of the last audit, because I'd be curious to see what they say. Because it is confusing when you look at it for the general
Extremely.
ledger, it
Extremely.
shows Providence Oxford Reserve,
Yes.
but it doesn't show what account that's coming from, and it looks like it's coming from the Providence.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly, I just can't
Which
believe they've been
It
that
shouldn't
negligent.
be,
Yeah.
so,
No.
yeah,
I mean, but the transfer code even knows people are paying assessments, their assessments are allocated specifically to Eastern Place. And so when it pulls out of the Providence operating account, it's transferred under whatever that, I know,
That code
Oxford,
is.
I know Oxford Commons code is 0404, that's what it ends in. And so when it pulls from that operating account, that GL code is utilized specifically to show that the transfer is coming from the operating account, but it's funding that 0404 from that income GL, that it's for specifically Easton Place. So again, if a homeowner makes an assessment payment and it's whatever their account number is, 0404, that's their income. At the end, when we're ready to make that transfer, that GL code for Easton Place is gonna have that GL code. So it specifies, yes, it's coming from the operating, but it's funded through the income that was paid for Easton Place specifically.
Okay, but then why is it coming from Providence? Is it coming from Providence's bank account? So everything so they pay Providence assessments and they pay Eastern Pay
Correct.
assessments?
Correct.
So
And
then-
those,
And that's
yeah.
all deposited into Providence's main bank account?
Operating
That's
account,
right.
correct.
Huh. Because I would, if that's allowed, if that's accept, if the powers of be accept that, I'm actually be surprised by that because I know that it's a benefited community, it's not an HOA, but it would be,
But then,
whatever, it has to
I
have
think
its
that
own bank account.
commingling, like you were talking earlier about commingling,
it's two separate
That's
entities,
right.
but it
Right.
falls under this, they don't have any different set of stuff as the CCNRs. They fall under the same SOS code or SOS number as Providence.
That part's irrelevant though, because what's important is, like, to track financials, like, okay, if you can, CCMC does CCMC manage any of the sub-associations?
No.
Okay, say they did, say they managed Madison Colony. If I paid my Madison Colony assessments, you legally can't deposit into Providence's bank account.
yes, but
Correct.
those are two separate entities. These aren't separate entities, they're benefited neighborhoods. And so that's where I think the law doesn't apply the same way. However, I'm still gonna check into it,
Okay.
because I think it's important to know.
Because it's kind of, it makes sense why it's not, and it makes sense
Sure.
why
Yeah.
it should be, so, yeah. Okay, next question. What's letter stream?
It's a service where we send out the statement.
Okay. What's optimal outsource?
Optimal outsource is where, so we have the reminder statements and then the regular statements that are sent out. They're two separate entities. So optimal is actually the ones that are sending out the quarterly statements. Letter Stream sends out the reminder statements and the compliance fines.
So optimal does the regular statement.
Correct.
What is XO Communications?
Excel Communications was brought up by Verizon. So those are for the office
Okay.
telephone.
Makes sense, okay. What's CM Works, I imagine, is that,
That was for the Huckleberry Park construction.
okay. What's net effect?
NetEffect is our server provider for our software, the monitoring of all the PCs to ensure that we have licensing and stuff like that for virus protection.
Okay, so page, I believe 3 of the general ledger, there's on 930, there's a credit card charge that says 318 credit card. What is that? For $525.46.
Page 3 of the balance sheet, is that?
No, it's page 3 of the general ledger.
And what's the charge for, Katie?
$525.46.
It's page 3 of the GL, so if you go down to the general ledger, it's on page 3 at the very bottom, and it's actually page 19 of 43 on the actual packet.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, I like my paper better to write on it.
Yeah, there's not a great description on this, Katie, so I'm gonna have to find out what that is for you.
Okay,
GL, page 3. 525.46 is towards the very bottom. It's a credit card charge. Go to 20037.
Any more questions?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Next one, next page, under the accounts receivable, there says RN charges. What's RN charges?
Road charges.
Without looking at it, 'cause I'm trying to figure out your question, I'm assuming it is repair, and you said it's under income?
It's
It's under
under,
accounts receivable.
accounts
It says
receivable.
RN charges. It would make sense if it was it would be repair and maintenance, because there's RN charges on a lot of these.
yeah, because the amount's 180, it looks like.
Okay.
It looks like that's what it is, Katie, but I'll verify.
Okay,
Repair and maintenance,
Yeah, I think so.
okay.
one ins and outs is
Next page, so page 5 of the general ledger. On September 1st, it says Hartman 9/13/19 card for $75.34. What's that?
So it's probably a credit card charge, something that we had to pay for that wouldn't allow us to cut a check. So if it says, oh, Hartman CC charge, that's what it's for.
From 2019? Because that's what it.
What page is it, Katie? I'm sorry.
It's page 5 of the general ledger.
AR other.
Yeah, ER other. There's
Got it, I see it, okay.
4 in a row.
For 7534,
Yeah, 7534, the next.
1985, 5827.
Yes. And 39/13/19, 12/18/19, and 1/17/20.
Just got it.
One was an over overpayment, reclass bank card fee. There's an amount charged at the bank that was reclassed, and then there's a manager accrual that was reclassed. Penalty interest. There's a credit card charge for the 5827. Then the 2504 was an overpayment, CC overpayment, which was reclassed. Then the 2504, oh, that just balanced out, just washed it out. And then the manager accrual, once we got the statement in, it was reclassed and washed out.
So those weren't credit card charges?
So it appears that there was an overpayment. The first one where it says the 1985 interest, so that was a
I
charge
think you're
for
looking at
unit
something,
rate.
I think you're looking at something else.
Not on page 21.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Is it AR other,
Uh-huh.
and then
Accounts
Hartman
receivable other.
9/13/19?
9/13/19,
Uh-huh,
beginning balance,
yes,
it
there's
says
75.
7534.
Okay. So that was an accrual?
So the first 7534 was an actual charge. The
Okay.
one right under it, the 1985 was the Union Bank interest charge. Then you had another charge on 1/17/20 for 5827. So 75, 1985, 5827 were all charged to the card. The 2504 was an overpayment. If you look over all the way to the left, it says reclass CC overpayment.
Okay,
And then, when the payment was made for the 879.12, like I said, that was an overpayment. The 2504 was an overpayment of the 879.12.
okay,
And then it washed out when when we actually got the statement, because it wasn't.
okay, but what are those charges for the 7534?
So you want to know
I
specifically what they are?
have to pull those. I can't pull them right now, but I have to pull the specifics.
Okay, page 7 of the general ledger, what's RN transfer payment?
I'm sorry, what page?
Page 7 of the GL, which is a page, oh shit, sorry. Page 22, I think. No, page 23.
23.
You said R in charge?
Or in transfer payment.
That for 170.45?
One's for 900, yeah, that's one of them on there, yes. And then there's also one for 96,
So-
180.
Right.
The refund, the homeowner refund? Right.
Okay,
Probably so their unit.
And it's right under, where it says beginning balance, you see the homeowner's name?
yes. Okay. On page 14 of the general ledger, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 first bank card charges. What are all those?
So, those are gonna be, so these are all, those are the Union Bank charges. So, all well, not all the department heads, currently only Tasha and I have, credit cards, but these would have been for credit card, what am I trying to say? Credit card transactions, not payments.
Okay, what are they for?
So they're gonna be distributed throughout the GLs, but specifically, I mean, I'm gonna have to pull all of.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to pull the back up to find out exactly. You want to know what all those charges are?
Yep.
Okay.
Can we list it? So that way we won't have,
So they are listed, but they're listed.
so
in
it's on the
GL.
list of your bank,
Of the GL.
your credit card statement
Correct.
for what you purchased
So
for.
when we get our statements, we have to provide a reconciliation, and that reconciliation provides all the GLs. And so when they do the financials, that specific $5.83, if that was to 0569, that charge is gonna show that $5.83 and 0569.
But I think it will be because it will be beneficial to us from our review to put down specifically, it's any way you put down specifically what charge are
If it's for
those.
office.
Are those is that for office supplies, those are for water, those are for, because I'm sure you don't use credit card, you buy credit cards for supplies and office supplies.
So it's just one-off things like subscriptions to Adobe or subscriptions to Pandora Music
Right.
or whatever the specific, so yeah, so it's like, again, it's coded to that GL, it's just not reflected specifically in the general.
Right, but I
ledger
think it
because
would
is
be
in the GL.
benefit if we could put down that is, because again, credit cards, it should be very limited.
Right.
And it should be only few items you are, because the other stuff is going to the payment,
Correct.
monthly payment, so this should be put down specifically what type of ledger that you associate with, so that'll be a lot easier for us to go over them. And actually, like I say, I know you have monthly
We could, yeah.
reconcile report that you have available for us to go through, but for purpose of this meeting, it will be much easier for us to not have to question every item.
We'll get,
Especially, and the same thing with RM charges, because there's more under collection fee revenue and there's more under interest. For every, it seems like it's defined differently for every section of whatever you're looking at. It would be much more beneficial to just say, it's the homeowner charge. This is this charge, instead of just calling every single one of them RM charges, you can't tell what these are for. Just like under sanctions and fees, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. What are those?
Those are homeowner compliance fines.
Okay.
And by the way, just one question, since I know I used to have to deal with the bank, reconcile report, does anybody do an audit on those reports? Does any board member ever say, hey, I want to look at month of August, reconcile report credit cards?
So, and the payables, when we provide them with their payables report prior to any checks being provided, then yes, they have that reconciliation of all invoices.
They
that are
do,
being
so they
paid.
do, the board members do review them.
Yes, okay. And they have to sign the check as well.
Perfect, okay.
Katie will be seeing those too.
I know we always start to audit on those.
What's the next page, Katie?
Page 18 on the general ledger.
Okay.
Under license fees permits, one of them just says CCMC, $141. Where is that?
I'm sorry, under what sub,
34 on the bottom.
under what name?
License fees and permits,
License fees.
CCMC, $141.
Generally, 18.
And the next one says first bank card, $29.
Next page.
Next page, page 19, under meeting expenses, there's a staff lunch. It's dated September 30th, and then the description is 3/18/20 credit card, $29.26.
That's another reconciliation that I have to pull.
Why is it listed as staff lunch? Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking bank reconciliation. You need to pull the actual general ledger, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, that makes more sense. There are, I mean, there's credit card, there's more credit card charges under park maintenance. There's more under maintenance vehicles. There's more under miscellaneous repairs. So I'll end up sending you a list to just ask you what they all are,
That's,
but that's all I have.
I have a question back to the financial report.
hold on one second, Ju. Let me finish my thought here.
Okay.
Okay, shoot.
Yeah, so that it's a park maintenance. Let's go back to August for 80, I think I might have already asked that question. For $80,000,
You're looking at August or September?
August. But then we didn't have the amount for, it's for park maintenance. Now I lost my page. Yeah, park maintenance, page 9. So when you look at this $80,000 for the month of August, September showed $3,800. So I think this, the one that we're talking about for park maintenance, I know that's probably including the new health bill report. But if you look at the monthly amount, it's very inconsistent. I know beginning of the year, we probably didn't have the health bill report included, but it's really what is the monthly required maintenance? But $80,000 for 1 month, $23,000 for another month,
Are you wanting the breakout for Huckleberry?
Or even just like, what is the monthly cost? Like, when you look at it, should be very close to it, right, for the park maintenance?
Yeah, I think park maintenance,
There's a couple.
encompasses more than one GL, like more than
Right,
one.
right, but it's like, if you look at the amount, it just, September showed $3,800.
The reason why it's like that is because how they're doing the accruals. That's something that I asking a lot of questions on right now and prevent from meeting on it. So, because I don't entirely understand how they're doing the accruals. So it's, but the answer to your question is, it's based off of how they're doing the accrual right now.
I don't
That's
believe
why the
it.
amounts are.
I don't believe that it's the accruals. I believe that, again, because it's all encompassing, even though Huckleberry, Knickerbocker, and the Promenade are associated under one bill from the landscaper. If Jody has a slide issue with the park, that goes under park maintenance. If we have to go fix the dog latch at the dog park, that goes under park maintenance. It's all encompassing. It's not just Brightview landscaping that goes under that 0616. There's other things that go.
And we talked about breaking that out better
Right.
for 2021. We
Right.
came up with some new GLs, and so we're definitely gonna be, doing that for 2021.
Right.
But yes, that
I
GL
still
is.
think that the amount should not be, even if I added 2 months together, $80,000, $3,700 together, it's still way out of the range from a previous month on a monthly basis. What is the expenditure for that, for $80,000? I know we should send you the report, you know, and I think, again, it's myself included, we probably should send you all the questions in advance to allow you opportunity to review before this meeting, so you have a chance to.
But it also helps if you get, I got the financials yesterday.
No, I sent
No,
them
they've been
out.
out a long
They was
time.
out.
When
I attached the
Yes.
email that I originally sent to you guys, so you
Okay.
would still have
I
it.
think November 10th, that's when she sent out.
Yeah, you guys have had them for a while.
On a monthly basis from Brightview,
Yeah,
for park maintenance, it should be $24,129.87.
okay,
That's from Brightview. But again, like I said, this is just for 2020. There's other things that encompasses
Right,
under that
Right,
0616 GL code. So for 2021, as you guys came and advised,
right.
it'll be broken out better so that we know what is park maintenance, what is actual landscape maintenance, so that it is broken out clearly so that you understand specifically what is going to the GL.
But again.
Plus, there was a
my
big
question is
difference.
Still very inconsistent, why is that 1 month?
So
something
going-
happened,
Going back to August,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the budget variance report that I did. And I did list park maintenance on there, and the explanation that I have for the month of August was that the billing for August and September landscape contracts, as well as July back bills for increase of landscape contract for Huckleberry Park expansion.
okay,
So if you guys are ever, usually on the budget variance report that I send you, I try to list the major variances, not the tiny
Right,
ones as much, but I try to give you an explanation if there is a big variance for why it happened.
but I would still like to see the list, because that's still $80,000 in 1 month, still significant higher, something occurred. And then page 16,
Of September or August?
September,
Okay.
there's arbor repair and paint.
So all of the arbors had to be repainted, and that came out of the reserve account.
Oh, okay,
The arbors and the trellises,
okay, so that's $19,000.
19,000. And just so you know, that check, the first one didn't clear. The Unforgettable moved offices from here locally to St. George, Utah. So we recently just had to recut that check, go out the first one and reissue it. So it'll show up again on the financials, but it's just a reissuing for the check.
Okay. That's all the question I have.
Portia?
So, well, since we got some pending items, I guess we won't vote to accept the financial report for September 2020 until we get the detail provided.
I agree with you on that one.
Okay.
So how about we provide the details and you guys can vote via email?
Sure,
Yeah, that's right.
that's fine. All right, open comment period. Anybody, any item?
I guess I can ask, how did the meeting go with Neil? Because I thought we were gonna have it this meeting, if you guys had a separate meeting, fine, but I couldn't go, so can you fill me in on how that went?
So,
Did you go?
yeah,
Everyone got to go?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We spent about an hour, and I think, I don't really feel the sense that, the board really took the time to review all the items. And I also sense that they may adapt some of the recommendations, but just because they didn't discuss. So I did not really get the sense of, they really even spent the time together as a team to go over.
That's what I was afraid of.
I kind of agree. It was, he was a bit forthcoming with some things, but it's basically, he met with us to appease us, I believe, which is here nor there. It was, this is the board, this is how we feel, this is, and we'll think about it or we'll talk about it. And I really left with the feeling of how sometimes you get from someone that they really will,
Yeah.
and your instinct is, and that's, I felt we were being abused, we were being human. And I mean, that's it, but I agree with you, I don't think any of our recommendations are gonna be taken. Now, you're gonna be on the board, so that's different.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, I don't know.
But that's concerning, that's concerning.
It's just next year, we won't spend all that time.
Right,
To me, it's a
so, but we
waste.
still will, because it is, that's what we are the finance committee.
So,
We still have to do diligence to help.
Yeah.
The strengthening of the financial, for Providence. But I think the residents need to know that we do our due diligence, reviewing every item, providing recommendations, identify potential savings. And again, our goal is to, because I think they questioned us why we want to put the money to pay off debt instead and not address the irrigation system. We still want to do that because we are paying interest. And that's the reason why we want to pay off debt first before we pay all the money into irrigation repairs.
Yeah,
So that's what we recommended, but I guess the board felt we should still keep the loan money for the crop bill out, but fix the irrigation system first. But again.
Well, then they haven't made that decision yet.
You are not gonna be able to do it at once anyway, so you're gonna have to plan out. We don't want them to do a job fast and not do a effective job. But since we are paying interest on the loan for over, $500,000, we want to pay off some of those debts, so we don't have to continue to pay interest.
And that was our recommendation.
That was the
Whatever savings
recommendation.
we had in 2020 should go, dump it
Right.
all into that loan.
So,
But he questioned, the one question he asked us, point blank, was why we seem to be focusing on the loan
right.
and not the water problem. And it's not, I mean, and just like you just said, our theory was we're gonna go after the interest. Any financial person, you're gonna go after your house, the interest. It's, water's just as important, and yes, but he asked us point blank, why are you focusing on the loan
Right.
and not?
Not, irrigation. But again, like I say, irrigation system, the reason why we start a 5-year plan, because you have to work with the, landscape company for what they can do. And then we came out with 5-year plan, and we do it to 3-year plan. We're still gonna do that simultaneously, but we wanna pay off the loan. So we use some of the reason money to pay off the loan, so we don't have to continue paying interest every month.
That was a discussion you had, right, the board members.
That basically, and so
I
I
don't know,
realize
it's
that's
discussion,
Oh.
it's like,
It
it's
was-
our recommendation, so.
and it's not gonna be taken. There, I mean,
Okay,
he heard us, no. There's a difference between hearing and listening and feeling up and being here. He heard us.
that's good to know.
He didn't.
I want to know that we've done everything we can to do what's best for the homeowner. We meet, put our time in, we meet with the board members individually, and yeah, so if they choose not to make those act on the recommendations.
I don't know,
We've
the
done
way,
everything we can.
I
We've done
can
all
say
we
that,
can.
but I think the feedback was, we are still going to review those items.
Yeah.
So whether or not they, I don't wanna say they won't, they just say that they will review those items, recommended items. And to me is, they should act, they should spend 4 hours together, review those items as what we did, if they want to take seriously about our current financial status of Providence. They should, as a board members, whether you do a room meeting, whether you do a face-to-face meeting, to have a lengthy discussion on each item that we recommend before they have a meeting, or even before they come to meet with us, and I don't think that took place.
I know either.
That is my assessment.
Sorry to interrupt you, but, did you guys look at the financials and it says that the construction project part non-reimbursable is up to $2,868,613. So that's what has been spent on the park so far?
Only a portion of that came from the association. Another portion of it, I had to figure out exactly what that was, came from the city of Las Vegas.
Because I would imagine that the non-reimbursable would be money that did not come from the city. Because then there's one that's part of reimbursable. I imagine that's the money that came from the city.
Right.
So that's only $568,000 so far. But we paid $2,868,000.
I'll get with me on that because the numbers are skewed because they came over from 2019 into 2020 and those
Right,
numbers are
So it's
skewed.
$1.9 million, post allocated by the city,
Okay.
okay? The top bill is about $4.6 million, roughly. Close to it. I don't know the balance yet, but $4.6 million, so we actually have to take out about close to $2.7 million
Okay.
for the topic.
And how much of that have we had to borrow so far?
I think we have to borrow,
A little,
we
a
were
little,
gonna borrow
just more than
$800,000. $850,000, that was the original plan, then we end up with $520,000.
yeah, a little north of 500,000
Yeah.
is what we actually borrowed.
If I recall correctly, I think that was a discussion based on 2019, we were able to get some money in reserve that we were able to use, so we didn't have to borrow $850,000. We reduced that to about $500 and some thousand dollars.
Okay.
But we actually got $1.9 million from the city for the Huckleberry Park. If we did not build park, then the city probably won't give us that $1.9 million.
And I'll send you guys, along with the other stuff that we send you, I'll get you guys a breakdown of what those exact numbers are so that you will know exactly what you're dealing with.
But then we found out more issue, I guess it was original,
The amenity.
it was, yeah, it was like because we got 3 beds, they were like $4
All the
million,
contractors were
and then they found more issue, and I had to put in more work, and I think we go to $4.6 million for that project.
I actually have one more question. I know you guys have told me this before, but I didn't write it down to take this for this. So the irrigation replacement under the reserve, that's not the park project, or that's not the irrigation project, those are just,
Individual
okay,
repairs.
okay. This time I will write it down, so I don't forget.
Any other open comment, any comments?
No.
No. All right, next meeting is January 27th. Wow, so it's gonna be 2 months from now.
You know, we got a little off on our meeting schedule due to COVID, so usually you guys meet the last Thursday of every month. So that's just me getting you guys back on schedule for 2021.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
Of course.
All right, meeting adjourned,
Thank you, guys.
9:21, thanks everybody, and have a
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
safe
Happy New Year.
and wonderful holiday.